Okay, we are recording live. Hello, everyone. It's Andrea and Kara's here with me. And as you see here, I have two screens going because I'm in my kitchen and I'm going to show you guys how to make a couple snack recipes that I really like and give you some other ideas as well. And Kara is going to kind of chat with me along the way and give you guys some good info. So kind of just to start off, I just wanted to say, like, what are snacks? What's the purpose of them? Can they be healthy? Are they healthy? What are they? What are they not? So we have some information on the screen to kind of help you guys see what we're talking about. So when I talk about snacking, I usually recommend that you should try to have either protein and produce. And then benefits are if you choose foods that also have like some sort of healthy fat, and then fiber is also important. And when people think of snacks, sometimes they might think that, you know, the snack aisle in the grocery store, and that is not necessarily, those are not necessarily healthy snacks. A lot of times that's the aisle with all like the chips and cookies and crackers that aren't necessarily the best ones, and all of those like 100-calorie packs. And a lot of those foods are really high in refined carbohydrates, which means that they're low in fiber, low in nutrients. And just because something's low calorie does not mean that it's healthy. So when you're thinking about a snack, what's really important with food for me and nutrition is, what do you like to eat? What tastes good? And where are you going to be eating this? Like, do you need something that, are you going to be eating something that requires refrigeration? Do you have access to a fridge? What do you want to be eating? Are you in the afternoons typically wanting something sweet or savory? Does it need to be like packaged because you're eating it in the car? So kind of start to think of like all of these things, and as we go through all these ideas, like what foods will fit into your needs. And also, do you want something that's hot, that's heated up, or do you want something that's like cold and refreshing? So just kind of a lot of things to like brainstorm on. What do you want to eat? And then snacking is oftentimes done like after a workout if you don't have a full meal, or you are on your way to work and you're going to eat a meal later. And so just quickly wanted to put in here that it's important right after a workout to be getting what I call the 3 R's of recovery. And so that is making sure that you're getting some sort of protein to rebuild and repair your muscles, that you're getting some sort of carbohydrate, which is to refuel your muscles, and then also having some sort of fluid so that you are rehydrating. And so what should kind of a snack be, and what's the purpose of that? So really it's just to provide energy between your meals that you're having. Most active people are hungry every like 3 to 5 hours. And so a lot of times, you know, going from 12 noon when your lunch break is all the way to 5 p.m. Might be, or 6 p.m. If you're doing an XPT workout in the evening, that's a little too long to go without eating. So the purpose is to give you energy between meals, also get in extra nutrition. A lot of these snack foods have a lot of micronutrients, antioxidants, inflammatory compounds. So a good way to add nutrition. It helps to satisfy your hunger so that when you are home later in the evening, you're not too hungry and then overeating. Most of the snacks we're going to show you are between like 150 to 250 calories, but depending on your personal needs, that could vary. I always try to encourage high fiber. That's going to help to satiate you. A good amount of protein is always important. The carbohydrate is always going to vary. And then things to kind of limit are anything that's high in saturated fat or has a lot of salt or sugar. And what kind of snacking is not is like opening a bag and just having like a bottomless pit. One thing that I recommend people do is individually package like their own snack foods. So for example, like if you had popcorn, popping a whole bunch of popcorn on the stove and then individually packaging it into servings. You could do the same thing with like crackers. And so you're not just eating out of like an entire bag. And then beverages, just kind of rethinking your drink and making sure that you're not adding a ton of empty calories on in between your meals that you're eating. Anything, Kara, to add yet?
I think it's really important to note that snacks are exactly what your first line says, energy between meals. And it's really, really important to make sure that you definitely have 3 meals a day, 2 to 3, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And like Andrea said, you're really wanting to eat between every 3 to 5 hours. And if that meal is going to be 6, 7 hours later, having that snack is just that bridge to get you from breakfast to lunch to dinner. It really serves a purpose rather than just that pleasure factor.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have some ideas for you guys on the following slides. But I think what I'm going to do first is kind of show and prep our first snack that I'm going to be making. So this is the egg cups. You might have seen them, veggie and egg cups. You might have seen them online. And basically all you do is you take a muffin tin, and we are going to put in whatever you want, really. You can put in any veggies, if you have any like meat that you can cut up, any carbohydrate, if you want to add any of that, you can put in whatever you want. You put your kind of ingredients in the muffin tin first, and then you take some whole eggs and whisk them up. You can also use egg whites or do a combination of both to get more protein. And then you just preheat the oven to 350, and then you bake them for about 20 minutes. And then you have a delicious high protein snack, getting in some veggies as well. So I'll just kind of show you guys. So the first thing that I did is I just kind of spritzed the muffin tin with, I actually use this avocado oil spray, but you can also use like olive oil. These are like ones that I would recommend, just so it doesn't stick. And then sometimes I like to put carbs in these. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just like to make them with veggies and eggs. And so I actually have these sweet potatoes that I made in the air fryer the other night. So this is just like leftover. And so I'm just going to take some of these sweet potatoes and just put them in the bottom. You can use like regular potatoes. You can use, I've seen hash browns you can put in the bottom. You can also do rice, and I've also done quinoa. So you can really just put kind of whatever base layer of like carbohydrate that you want. And then for the veggies, you can also, again, use whatever you want. I'm a big fan of these like mini sweet peppers. These are super good. You can just chop them up. You can use onions. You can use like broccoli. I would cut it into small pieces, really just whatever you want. And I, again, have some veggies that are left over from dinner the other night. So I'm just going to use these. And so, again, I'm just going to kind of fill the muffin tin. And Kara, can you see that okay? Yeah.
Yep, I can see it.
Okay.
I think for these egg muffins, it's awesome to use leftovers. And then also when you're like trying to clean out your fridge when things are about to go bad, especially like peppers and onions. So it can have a lot of different variety.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually, so obviously I have some peppers that are like raw, and I was going to cut those up, and then I saw my container of my cooked veggies, and I was like, oh, I should just use those. And then you can use eggs and just like whisk them up in the bowl. I have a dietitian fail and to admit, and I went to the grocery store to get egg whites because I like to kind of combine, like I love whole eggs because there's so much nutrition in the yolk, but I also like to use egg whites and do it together, so you just get extra protein, but also the nutrition from the yolk. And so I went to the grocery store and just grabbed this box off the shelf because it was on sale for 99 cents because it expired, or it's the Best By date is like in 3 days. And then I got home and I was looking at it and I was like, oh, this is whole egg. It's not egg white.
Oh, bummer.
So, which totally doesn't matter because I love whole eggs, but it's just like one of those things where you just like grab it and you're like, oh, that's totally not what I thought I was buying, but oh well, not a big deal. So since this is super convenient, I'm just gonna pour this into the tray here. And you don't want to put it all the way to the top because they are going to fluff up a little bit. Another thing that you can do is you can add a little bit of milk. If you like whisk the eggs, you can add milk, and that will also add like a little more protein and a little more volume without using just like so many eggs. So you can see I'm just making like a half tray here. And that's another thing is like, if you, depending on how many people you're feeding or how many like snacks you want to make, you don't have to use the whole muffin tin. Like you can just use, you know, a quarter or half of it like I'm doing here. So then you can bake these in the oven at like 350 for about 20 minutes.
Andrea, how are these when you freeze them, or have you ever frozen them and then microwave them back up?
Yeah, I actually haven't frozen them. I've just put them in the refrigerator and reheated them. And they're actually good just cold, refrigerated, or you can reheat them. And I've put them like between an English muffin. Like if I don't have if I didn't put like potatoes or quinoa on the bottom, you can put them like on toast or something like that to get like the carbohydrate. So voila, just like a cooking show.
Beautiful.
Here are the little egg muffins. So you can see that they kind of rise up a little bit and they have the veggies in there. And then the, let's see if you can see it, probably not. Oh, maybe right there. There's the sweet potato. So there's those, super delicious. And then anything else on those, or any other ways you've seen them, or any additions, anything to add?
I think for me, I would probably do the whole muffin tin just so I can freeze them. So, because we all know that planning is super important and none of us do it. So if we have those snacks that are just frozen, ready for us in the freezer, we can just pop them in the microwave really quick. It kind of gets you out of that bind.
Yep. Yeah. And it was super easy. I mean, you guys saw, obviously we didn't have the 20 minutes of cooking time pass by, but you kind of just throw them in the muffin tin, put them in the oven, and then really most of the time is just the time that it takes to cook. So super quick. And then the other thing that I am going to show you guys are these like energy balls. And so I love these because you kind of just start with like a blank canvas, and then whatever you have in your pantry or whatever kind of flavor that you are craving, you can just make literally anything out of these. So I'm going to make like a peanut butter and jelly energy ball. And so I, again, am just like having the recipe. And that is actually because I already made half to show you guys. So kind of the same thing with the muffins, but this has 1 cup of oats. And these are just raw oats. You don't have to like cook them or anything first. They're just like the rolled old-fashioned oats. So 1 cup of that. This is the like crispy rice cereal, half a cup of that. And then you can use any dried fruit, half a cup. I am using, these are dried cranberries, but you can use any fruit. And I've also made this with like freeze dried. So this is dried fruit, but you can also use, I've used like freeze dried. The cat is meowing. Can you hear the cat?
A little.
Okay,
She's
there
hungry.
we go. And then what were you gonna say?
I said she's hungry.
Oh, he wants to go outside. Let me go open the door. Be right back.
Something about the eggs from the last recipe that I wanted to mention is Andrea wanted to do the egg whites, which is basically just the protein, and they take most of the fat out. But whole eggs are nothing to be afraid of. They do actually, when you eat the whole egg together, you absorb the vitamins and the minerals from the egg a little bit better. And also, like we said, the fat is really important, and it's a necessary component of your meals. Helps you stay fuller longer. And it's just super important. So the fact that she used whole eggs instead of eggs white is nothing to fear.
Yep. Exactly. So, and like I said, sometimes I'll use a combo, and sometimes I just will use the whole egg. It kind of depends. All right, so now I am putting the peanut butter in here, and if you guys saw my first video, you saw that, or you heard that I don't like doing dishes, and so to measure the peanut butter, I actually just use a food scale, and so I'm just weighing it, and so I'm just taking it out of the jar with a knife, and then putting it, I have my entire bowl here with all the ingredients in it. I just set it on my scale, and then I zeroed it out, and then I add the peanut butter until I get to the weight, what I want, and then all I've done is just dirtied one knife and not an entire measuring cup. I tend to only put like dry ingredients in measuring cups because it's just easier to wash.
That is a great tip.
Yeah, I don't like doing dishes, so that's my secret. Sorry about it. Okay, and then honey. So that was half a cup of peanut butter, and then we're gonna add some honey, and then the same thing with the honey. Like, I hate cleaning honey out of like tablespoon, like measuring spoons, and so the same thing. I just put my whole ingredient bowl on top of my scale, and then just hit 0 or tare till it gets to 0, and then I just put the honey in. We might be out of luck on this honey here.
And so if you are out of honey, a good alternative to that could be maple syrup.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so the honey, get the right amount in there, and then you basically just take those ingredients and then you just mix it up and spill it everywhere like I just did, because I'm using a knife, because again, I don't like cleaning up multiple dishes. So you just mix all the ingredients, and then once you have it all mixed up, then you just roll them into little bite-sized balls. I like to have the energy balls kind of be on the smaller side. I like eating 2 of them. I would rather have like a smaller one and have like 2 than have like some huge one that I'm like taking multiple bites out of, but it really doesn't matter. It's kind of whatever your preference is. And so you just mix that all up, and then you just roll them into little balls. And then I put mine in either like the fridge or the freezer just for a couple minutes to kind of harden up. And then this is what you end up with. So there are these little energy bites, and these ones are peanut butter and jelly, and they're super delicious. They have like the crispy kind of crunch because of the Rice Krispie, and then, but they still have whole grains from the oats, so you're getting fiber and then healthy fats from like the peanut butter, and antioxidants, anti-inflammatory compounds from the dried fruit. So super good and super easy. And then I would just keep these in like a closed container in the fridge.
Yeah, I keep mine in the fridge, and a lot of times when I'm snacking, I'm usually craving something a little sweet or chocolatey. So sometimes I'll just I'll melt some chocolate chips with some coconut oil, and then pour it over the top. So I get my little chocolate fix, and then I put them in the freezer so they're frozen when they come out.
Yeah, that sounds super good. Yeah, you can put chocolate in them. You can put like chia seeds, flax seeds, like any little thing that you have. The like sunflower seeds, the little like sun seeds, those are really good. Really anything, any combo you're craving. Okay, so those were kind of the 2 recipes that I wanted to show you guys, and we'll put those in the comments. And then I also took pictures of a bunch of other snack ideas, so we'll kind of just run through those and just kind of give you like tips and tricks as we go through those. So here is a idea that I got from a Brazilian friend that lived with me for 4 months, and she toasted a piece of bread, put cottage cheese on top of it, and then drizzled honey on the top. And I'm like, interesting, cottage cheese on toast. I would never thought of that, but it's really good. Cottage cheese is extremely high in protein. Just like yogurt, it comes in a variety of like whole fat, low fat, non-fat. This particular one is 2% fat, which I recommend just like the low fat. It's the Daisy brand, and so this has very minimal ingredients. This is a good brand, and then you kind of get that salty sweet combo, and then you can also add like fruit if you have like a banana or an apple for a little crunch, anything like that. Cottage cheese is a good protein source and of particular importance for people that exercise. It has a lot of casein and also the amino acid leucine, and those are both important for muscle growth. So cottage cheese is an excellent snack. Kara, do you have any other combos that include cottage cheese?
Oh, well, the typical one's cottage cheese and peaches.
Yeah. Yep. So that's like,
but yeah, I think cottage cheese and any fruit works pretty well.
Yeah, totally. Okay, what else we got on here? This is just edamame and a hard-boiled egg. So edamame is a good snack. You can buy it from the grocery store either in the shell like you see here, or you can get it shelled already. Anytime that anything comes with like a peel or a shell, I usually recommend getting it that way because it kind of slows down your eating. So for example, like if you're getting pistachios, you should buy them with the shell on and sit there and open them, because then it's going to take you longer to eat that. And also in the case of the nuts, the like nutrient value is a little better when they're, protected on still in their shell for as long as possible. But the edamame here, these are really high in fiber, really high in protein, and then you can have it be an even higher protein snack with adding like an egg on the side.
And edamame is super easy because you don't have to cook it.
Yeah.
You can heat it if you want to, but you don't have to.
Yeah, super good. And then this is a individual packet of tuna that has 17 grams of protein. And then they make these little individual packets of hummus, which I think you can either like just buy a big pack of hummus and then portion it out into like little 1 or 2 ounce servings on your own. Obviously that would be cheaper, or they also sell these like little individual perfect for snacking size hummus cups. And then you could pair that with some carbohydrates. I have here is a tortilla, and then any kind of vegetable that you can like dip in the hummus, or you can even like put a little bit of the hummus on the tortilla or on the wrap, and then the tuna, and you can make like a little tiny wrap.
And a good alternative, if you don't like hummus, would be like a quarter, half of an avocado.
Yeah, absolutely. This looks kind of weird, but it's just like lean roast beef and a piece of string cheese, that's pepper jack cheese, and then a veggie, so the little cherry tomatoes. And lunch meat can be really high in sodium. So what I recommend is going up to the deli counter and like asking for them to slice it there. And for the like high quality one that has like the least amount of preservatives, they'll know. Turkey breast is super lean. Roast beef is super lean. Those are kind of my two that I like rotate through my fridge. And so you're going to be getting with 2 slices or 2 ounces, you're going to be getting 13 or 14 grams of protein. You can add some cheese. You can even, I've seen people like wrap the lunch meat like around the cheese and then have like a veggie on the side. Also, here is just some watermelon with some walnuts and some cheese. So portion size for nuts is 1 ounce, which is about the size of a shot glass, or a quarter cup if you are a visual person. This is how I make popcorn. I just buy the whole kernels from the grocery store and then heat it on the stove with olive oil. And then you get a whole bunch of popcorn. It's way cheaper than buying like Skinny Pop, and you know that it's healthy because you've made it yourself with olive oil. You can also use like a avocado oil would be another good one. So either all over avocado oil and just air pop or stove pop the popcorn. And then for a snack, you could sprinkle the very popular, like everything but the bagel. You could even put like a little bit of, if you wanted something sweet, you could do like cinnamon. If you like hot things, like if you're a hot Cheetos person, maybe you should try this and just put hot sauce on your popcorn. You might like that. Popcorn is a great snack, and it's a whole grain.
Super high in fiber.
Yeah. Okay, another one with a tuna packet, some healthy fat. I like to take this and take the tuna packet and like mash it with avocado together, and then you could like eat it with, these are just like the whole grain Triscuits. You could also, again, do like a wrap or something like that. Here's some more ideas with the hummus, hard-boiled egg, and carrots, or you could also do like bell pepper. You could like cut bell peppers into strips or just use the baby bell peppers. Those are pretty sweet. Peanut butter and baby carrots. This might, again, look weird to some people, but it's super good. So don't knock it till you try it. And then, oh yeah, the last thing I made was chia pudding. So chia seeds are these tiny little seeds that are really high in fiber and protein and healthy fats. I keep them in the freezer because I don't use them that often, but you can just get them at the grocery store. And I just combined frozen blueberries. I put them in this little jar with the chia seeds and then milk. And then you just put it in the fridge, and it's like comes out and it's like a pudding. So it's super good, really satiating. People get, you will be full for a very long time with this.
And that's another one of those snacks that you can make multiple at a time. So you can make like 6 at a time in a mason jar. So you kind of pre-planned for the week.
Yep. Yeah, and these, like the little jar that I have this in, this is like the perfect little like single serving. So yeah, you can just make a ton of those and put them in the refrigerator and then just pop them out. So this is the energy bites that I showed you guys how to make, and then the egg muffins that I showed you guys how to make. So that is all, that's our snack attack for the day. I think you guys hopefully will get some ideas out of all of that. And we can put, I'll put the recipe for the muffins and the energy bites in the comments for everybody, and post on Facebook.
I have one more thing to add. With snacking, you had mentioned to always have it, out of the bag or the box, so that way you can visualize your portion size. The other thing I want to mention is you really want to try and be sitting down eating your snack rather than running out the door, shoving it in your mouth, or maybe while you're driving and sitting in traffic, just to help you kind of cue into that mindfulness. And it'll help make you stay fuller longer as well.
Yes, absolutely. That's a good tip. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording. I guess I should have said bye, but
bye.